In the age of displacement, rapid tech advances outpace workers' reskilling, causing talent shortages, increased automation, unemployment, and social division. This isn't a conspiracy theory that I found on a dark corner of the internet. This is an extract of the so-called Scenario 2 from the World Economic Forum's own briefing note for January 2026. They aren't calling it a transition anymore. They are calling it the age of displacement. And they just admitted that you cannot learn fast enough to survive. So usually Davos, the World Economic Forum, is like a big PR where they talk about cooperation, green energy, and forecast about how and where the planet is going. But this year, honestly, I'm quite shocked because they're holding their internal, as we speak right now, they're holding their internal job and skills briefing. And they are workshopping 4 different scenarios for the future of labor. I'll put them just here on the video. Publicly, they will talk about scenario 1, right? The supercharged progress. So their base idea in this is telling that AI will basically be helping humanity, right? They will helping people that are like working every day, and that AI will be like a co-pilot for them, and that it will boost somehow benefits and the growth. But privately, they are talking about scenario 2. And what is scenario 2? They basically say, and that's based on what they just said. So I'll put in the description the link if you want to check it out for yourself. But they explicitly state that technology will move faster and that we as people, if you're in a job right now in a company, will not be able to keep up with that speed, okay? And it's backed by a lot of things because as you will see, there is a lot of data in this document that is backing that. So follow along carefully because it gets worse. The headlines are telling us about a labor shortage, right? And this is a lie to keep you calm. Because if we look at the raw data, so they ask global businesses what AI will actually do to their workforce. And the majority didn't say help workers. That's the main narrative that is pushed, right? 54.3%, which is the majority of them, said that their goal is to displace a large number of existing jobs. That's what they are basically planning for the future of workers. Does it ring a bell? And if we compare that to the other column, where only 23.5% said it would create new jobs. And this we cannot really argue over, right? Because there is definitely, as a new technology, as a new means of technology, there will definitely be new jobs created by that. But if we look at the math, it doesn't add up, right? Because they are basically selling this hope to people that, okay, we're gonna lay you off, but it's gonna create a lot of new jobs. That's what you see on the news. There's a lot of articles, they say that on TV, everywhere, that's what they say. That's the big narrative they're pushing. But if you have 2 brain cells and you actually sit down and do the math for yourself, you realize that for every job that they create, they're basically deleting 2. So the math doesn't add up. And this is not like a transformation. This is literally a big liquidation of this middle class, of a whole entire work class that is like hundreds of millions of people on this planet that will be completely jobless. So don't fall for a propaganda from the news telling you that it's gonna be all right, there's gonna be new jobs. Because of course there's gonna be new jobs. But we have too many workers for the number of jobs that are gonna be available, right? What is basically the solution for you, you might ask? Because if we hear it like that, it could be like, okay, that's kind of shitty for us. And you would be right. But this big reskilling revolution that they're talking about seems kind of already dead in the shell. So if we look at the data from Manpower Group, which is like a big staffing agency, we see that 55% of the global workforce has received no training at all in the last years. That's what I was telling you about They're not upskilling you at all, right? And this is a bit cynical to me because they admit that the tech is moving faster than ever, even faster than basically what the workers are able to keep up in terms of knowledge. And they are left basically with zero knowledge and zero preparation. And we're not talking about workers that are low-level workers. We're talking about workers that represent like 70 to 80% of the workforce that we know. So it's actually a lot and it's actually terrifying. So let's think about it. If you're a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old, you might hear about that and be like, that's fine, you know, I'm gonna be reskilled, there's gonna be new job opportunities, but they are basically lying in plain sight because they won't be able to do anything. So far, the biggest layoff ever seen in the course of humanity. So the conclusion to that is that this scenario 2 of the World Economic Forum is not even like a theory anymore. It's like happening in plain sight. I made a video yesterday talking about that. And yeah, if you're sitting in a corporate seat right now waiting for your HR to upskill you, it won't happen. Didn't happen for 1 year. It won't happen this year also. 54% of companies are planning to displace you, and they already made that decision. Based on all this information, you have basically two options. Option A is stay in this age of displacement. You can become a statistic in their social division part, right? Stay where you are, get laid off or get used, get underpaid and get wrecked with inflation and taxes. And the option B would be to become sovereign. You need to build assets that they cannot automate and income that they cannot fire. So you're in luck. I've compiled a secret document that you can find in the description. I call it the Plan B Blueprint. It's a strategic protocol for decoupling your life from this rigged game. It covers what I call the liquidity shield, the sovereign capital, and how to build an income on the side of your job. The link is in the description. You can check it out. Like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.